Good morning. Friday the 13th, number 2. Like we just start here by saying thank you to the Lord. We know the control freaks are doing something this morning, so us cultivators should be too. Hua, the second Friday of the 13th, Friday the 13th of 2026. I'm sure there's not too many of those in history, right? Kind of a one of a kind thing. And I'm sure this book was published a long time ago by the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Obviously, it's in Spanish. But what it's about, actually, is the Bush family starting this book right here, the 3 magic words, and we'll get into this in just a second, because this is going to be a phenomenal truth. You are going to trip on this video right here, because part 3 of who we really are, especially in these trying times, where we are all blessed to have some excellent examples of valiant individuals. Let's just go ahead and bring that word back, right? Because it really truly is the North Star word, the North Star mouth sound that does not begin to describe anything, but it helps, as we covered in our last study, okay? And I'm just your fellow student of nature, your fellow journeyman, the journey being the destination. And we can, in this beautiful life, elect incredible journeys at all kinds of different levels all over the place. It's as simple as your inner iron will and going and doing it. Nothing to it but to do it. As Carl Jung tells us, those who look outside dream, and those who look inside awaken. Everything that you need is inside of you. I want to tell you the superpower secret, okay? Because the brain, the spinal cord, the nervous system is an antenna for certain types of frequency and access. An observation in nature, not too many days, and you start to realize, oh wow, especially if you're cultivating, you could miss it if you're not cultivating, in fact. So that reinforces the natural grand teaching of cultivation. I do believe we should know cultivators as advanced beings in the holodeck training modules for our soul, where we should also be mastering the tree of life biology, which I'm convinced is the next epoch for all of us in the light chasing, honesty, valiance, righteousness, God, goodness, true strength, direction. Bob Marley, who told us in plain terms, one love, and who also prophetically has channeled, don't worry about the atomic people. They have nothing against nature or time. So we know that good wins in the end, and that your weapon is truth, nature, and cultivation. As cultivators, not control freaks, we can offer new options and opportunities to people who are experiencing control freaks. And what did Moses lead the slaves to? Freedom by manna, nature, nature and the knowledge of how to use nature. Your first principle there is everything is both a toxin and a remedy. It's the dose that decides. That includes water. Water, which you know nothing about, is an incredibly important thing to know all about. And now, in 2026, we do know all about it. In fact, just 8 years ago, and no, excuse me, 17 years ago, in 2008, sorry, Dr. Masaru Emoto discovered the patterns of water, the structure, the microscopic structures in water, and incredibly esoteric things that apply to that structure. Lo and behold, praying over our food before we eat it makes a lot more sense than we ever thought it did, some of us. Salt and peppering our food also has a lot more intelligence behind it than we ever realized. Cultivators who cultivate animals, they know this. They know this clearly. Paying deep attention to nature to understand everything better. That's an Einstein quote. Again, also is adaptability is the greatest measure of intelligence. I have some honesty quotes because I believe, and I've been saying in the last videos, but I'm just your fellow journeyman here, so I want to be more imaginative, more open, right, in my productions moving forward, you know, especially on the day where the control freaks are being so satanic, probably. And look into the history of Friday the 13th. I'm not going to get into that right now. That's your homework, all right? Look into the history of Valentine's Day. Look into the history of Halloween. We're starting to, the Truman Show employees are starting to become exposed. And they're all insanely evil. Pay attention to the insane truth tellers of our time, like Candace Owens. You're just like, holy moly, this person's about to uncover so much insane corruption and you know, they murdered. She is a great friend. I would like to have a friend like that, especially if I'm murdered. No. Truth being our guiding light. I want to go over, you know, Mark Twain says the lie makes it 3 times around the world before the truth is even mumbled, okay? Honesty is the first chapter in the book of wisdom. That's Thomas Jefferson. Integrity is telling myself the truth. Honesty is telling the truth to other people. Spencer Johnson. An honest man's word is as good as his bond. Miguel de Cervantes. And you know that was from that old school cowboy time right there. Conquistador time right there. If you can't focus beyond roosters, dogs, and axe chop, this message is not for you. This is Jedi training right here. No matter what violent storm is going on around us, our inner waters remain calm, no matter what. Especially right now. You will be thrown every type of distraction possible. In our tribe, distraction and deception are the same mouth sound. It's the same word, basically. You've been deceived. You've been derailed from having a realistic, relative relationship with the natural elements of the universe, actually. You're not living in truth. You're living in another mind's constructed reality. 50 Cent has a great quote. I hate a liar worse than a thief. A liar is stealing my reality. And that's so true. They're just gassing you with like toxic gas that's distracting you, that's deceiving you, that's derailing you, that's removing you from your destiny path. And then it turns out they're ball worshippers. David Icke was right. Alex Jones was right. All these people are highly intelligent people who have dedicated their life to screaming the truth, and it's all evident. The evidence is there, and there's so many people that can't hear it because the programming has been so significant, and that's something to pay very close attention to. And all the programmed ones, that it's very hard to show them any evidence or convince them out of it, right? Because if you can entitle and boost the ego of your slave population to attack anyone who says anything outside of the box or outside of the programming, these people think that they can lead you like a robot by any means and just do whatever thing right in front of you. Honesty is a very expensive gift. Don't expect it from cheap people. Warren Buffett, right? A half-truth is a whole lie. You know, for me, I tell people, listen, anything else you want to know, if I accidentally left out, you can grill me. I'll get more precise. If I use an estimate, we'll narrow it down for you. We'll make sure that we get to the truth. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't want to lie to you. I know what that does to me. Dr. Masaru Emoto. Water pictures are just symptoms of these actions, of these intentions, of these ritual, spell, blessing, whatever you want to call them. They both seem applicable, right? It's our free will, determination, intention, and action that creates that result, that has that symptom. Honesty is the armor of the fearless. Like I said, you know, I'm gonna just stand up to my mistakes and be better. And thankfully, I made the decision way back when, all hardcore, that I am just not down with deceivers. My mother's one of the biggest ones. I said, whatever that is, before I even had the language really, I said, whatever that is, I'm not gonna be that. Right? All kinds of sounds are gonna start coming up here in the background. So this book right here was all taped up. I ordered a new version. This isn't it. I had the old, it had a whole different cover. It had like a magic lamp, right? Anyway, this author, U.S. Anderson, he's got a whole bunch of incredible, interesting titles, right? I want to read you this passage, and then I'll tell you how I came into this book. But you are now experimenting with the greatest force in nature. We caution you not to become so wrapped up in it that you forget your daily life. Do not search for contact with the subconscious mind to the exclusion of the exercise of the conscious mind, for as a human being, your goal must be to achieve a perfect balance between the two. The ordinary people we meet each day scarcely use the subconscious mind at all, and their lives are directed and controlled entirely by circumstance. Men and women of genius are those in whom there is a perfect balance between subconscious mind and conscious mind. It is balance we strive for, balance between the great creative power of the universal subconscious mind and the conscious mind. To work at your meditation joyfully and confidently, cast aside doubt and morbidity and effort and strain. You don't have to make anything, it's already made. You only want to use it correctly. Accept, believe, know, relax. The universe will provide you with all you desire. And again, all that you need is inside of you. So my uncle, who is my father's brother, just real quick, he's murdered, right? It's crazy. So I'm coming down, and it's a shady situation. It's, I didn't know what I knew a lot about him. We had a really tough, we cared a lot about each other. And we had basically the same life, right? So I come up and take care of his body and all this stuff. I'm in shock. I'm trying to talk to people he knew before they all float off. And I find this book all taped up, like he read it every day, right? So that was special, and that's the book. So that's how I found that. It's not a big title in the self-development space, but it's got a lot of interesting stuff. It wants you to remember that you are God, that you do have the power of God, that what it was just saying here, that everything that you need is provided, that God's got your back. And if you do the right things, and if you tell the truth, you will be able to tap into a superpower. There's a guy in the youth culture right now, his name's his business is called the Hard Knock School of Business. James DeBruler or something. Anyway, he's the guy always doing the interviews. Hey, sir, how'd you make $1 billion? How'd you make the Miami? You'll notice that at the end of most of those interviews, the guys are like, God. At the most champions, at the end of their fights, God. There's a recognition from intense people. And if you're not getting the results you want, go harder. As David Goggins says, intensity is key. I said in the last video, if I could go back and smack myself as the ghost of your future, I would say you just need to go so much harder. And I remember I was already this hustling, crazy kid, I wasn't listening to anybody. I thought I knew everything, I thought I was invincible. I also really halfway didn't even care what would go on with me, and good job, Bill. Here's the star of the show real quick. Bill. Good job. What's up? Nothing but love out here, right? So we pass it now. Coercion, control. Coercive systems expect loyalty over truth and facts. Okay? A coercive system, if it's successful, it wants to guide you. It requires loyalty from you. We're in a gang now. We cut our fingers. We're gonna do evil together. We need secrecy. They're the enemy. Cancel them. Bomb them. Control them. Tell them what to do. It's like when you step outside of respect, nature teaches you politeness. First thing, you can't be stumbling around out here in the jungle of Panama where there's fur-lance, the most deadliest snake in the world, everywhere. You gotta be worried about your little puppy that you love so much when you're out here just a couple hundred steps, There's real danger. There's real teachings from the grand teacher that we've been separated from. We've been ill-equipped to proceed as cultivators in the full reality. And we've been consumed by a conflictive, control freak ideology and system. And most of us are repeaters of that system. We've been controlled, so we want to control somebody else. But remember, this cognition is having an effect on our internal molecular structures as symptoms of a greater metaphysical reality that we started from, that we will return to because we even know from quantum physics that everything that exists now was a blueprint in the metaphysical world before it was a real print in the physical world. And the simulative construct, which was really truly started by Chris Langland, and I'll put the links below to this. I'll put the links below to the Kia Karlberg science. And one's talking about quantum physical science torn into metaphysical science, but his IQ's of 200, the highest recorded IQ in history. And it's really an insane thing that I completely agree with. And I see a lot of what he's saying out in nature. I don't see it coming from a lot of other mouths out there. And lo and behold, he's a rancher. Not everybody can be a professional cowboy, ladies and gentlemen. This is a hard, spirit-having job. Jesus was a shepherd, a cultivator, a safekeeper, a protector. That's the natural orientation of the man made in this image. However, we've been deceived, we've been distracted, we've been derailed into all this other convoluted stuff. And remember, all they've got to do is distract you. All they've got to do is distract you from working with the truth, from doing true goodness. I like horror. I like action films. You know, people down here used to call me Rambo, the shovel punisher. You know, so I like Marvel heroes, just like the next person. That stuff is entertaining. But just what at this point in time now, I want to go through a meditation with you. Now, the way I generally meditate is deep breath in. And I don't do this. I've never done this on the channel, right? But we should do this, okay? Fellow journeymen and women. Deep breath in through the nose. I mean, filling the lung completely. And then making sure that pressure gets up heavy. You can get a $20 blood oximeter finger reader, right? Good girl, good girl. And you can look at this thing, it will go up to 99, and you can do a breath matcher that will push it up to 99. When you get out of a hyperbaric chamber, you want it to read 99, right? But you can just do it through the breath manner, and blood oxygen science is real. You put, the first thing I'm doing with my guys in the gym is getting them on the right breathing mantra, because if you're gonna go deep in the jungle with me, you're gonna need to keep that blood oxygen saturation as high as you possibly can. Hua, that's performance. That's why guys go up to the high elevations and train real hard up there. We used to do it in the sandy mountains of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. There's nothing like getting out in nature and using your fullness of potential, both mental, physical, metaphysical. Hua, there's nothing to it but to do it. There's nothing stopping us. Momentum is real. And when you're flow state to flow state productive, doing as much in your day as the Netflix beer drinking dum-dums are doing in their week, you're a month and a half and ahead of them in a week, right? Cowboys and cowgirls, hear me here. Strength, honesty takes strength. We came here to get strong. Hear it from a cultivator. Character is king. It's everything. If you don't have character, if you don't have discipline, if you don't have soul, if you don't have spirit, what are you doing? My only intention is to get my wings in stage 2. We're going to be valiant, forward, moving, and something wants to distract us from that. Insanely. Okay, so generally with meditation, in through the nose, out through the mouth, I'm going, thank you, I love you. And I'll flip it for exhale and inhale. Thank you, love you, thank you, love you. That's it. At certain times, I will look towards my third eye, right? I will put my hands together to try to close the circuit. I will put my feet on the ground to have a circuit, right? Not the cement, not the ground, the real earth. Now, imagine you walk out into a hybrid society of intense green, diverse, nutritional diversity.com nature. You can look that up. But let's just say very diverse, tropical, abundant nature. I'm a desert cat, so I highly appreciate it, right? I want to point that out. As Carl Jung says, if you have a deep taproot, that means you can get to a highest branch, you know what I mean? Rock bottom is a great place to springboard from. If you haven't gotten there yet, might as well get there soon, because if you're just stuck in that drift place, there's drift and then there's rock bottom. Drift, as Napoleon Hill says, is the way you get to rock bottom, because you have no resistance. You have no inner will, soul, right? You have no resistance. Resistance, being able to resist something. Now that's strength, you know? If I could just throw BS at you all day and you just eat it up, well, you will be a fat, toxic Avenger, like a lot of people right now with the Cheetos and the Netflix and the escape mentality, because personal inventory all rigorously, right, in Operation Game Dissection, although the direction of dissection is not the only one. The direction of combination is what nature teaches us. But yeah, personal inventory for integrity, honesty with self, that's integrity. Not many people have it now. And that's your edge. So sharpen that up and cut through life like no Jedi around you. And then the Jedis above you will see that too and say, hey, who are you? Right? You've earned recognition the right way from the right people in this right way. Meditating. Okay, back to the meditation. Imagine we're on a... Thank you. I love you. Imagine that we are in a Wonderland, Avatar movie Wonderland, like paradise. Everyone is smiling. Nobody has anything to prove. We're not shrouded in this BS political correctness. Everybody's a little bit rough. It's like the fruits in the farmer's market. Everybody's a little bit rough around the edges because they're supposed to be. Everybody's very respectful, very polite, you know, because if you come out of that, somebody may jump here. They're likely to jump here. You better be right. We're just from baseline cultivation, growing up. There's no bitter control freakism. There's no dominating. There's no tough guy. There's none of that stupidity. It's like this higher intellectual community that's not so wasteful, that has like hybrid, amazing tech mixed with intense greenery that's been enhanced. Oh yeah, did you know humans can enhance nature? Oh yeah, insanely, right? We've done it before. Moving right along. So we're here in the beautiful hybrid tech where we're not addicted to our phones and we have interpersonal relationships and there's just love everywhere and the kids are safe and there's no sickness that's been weeded out in whatever way. And we all, you know, you look to the person across and you guys are super clear-minded. You're drinking the best water. You're eating the best food, you know, and you're doing this highly disciplined stuff all the time. And you have this diverse, extensive metaphysical and physical knowledge base that you can co-reference to and stand on as a foundation, a real true foundation. Remember, if there's anything false in here, Jimi Hendrix sang all about that with the Castles Made of Sound. Yo, if there's anything false, if there's anything that's not strong in there, it jeopardizes the entire architecture. So we're just strong. You know, this is already, no weak people even know about this community. You know what I mean? They didn't even tell them about it. And you look over and it's just building. It's just creativity with this other super powered Jedi type of person. Boo! 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 Fucking dog. Perfect for that. Boo! 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 Get your fucking ass over here. Get here. Boo! Fucking dog. Everybody. See, this is a raw, real life channel right here, man. I'm not coming to you as some exalted person who's a teacher and a guru. I'm your fellow journeyman, and life is happening down here too. Man, you can pay attention to my other lives though. This Friday the 13th, this good message did not want to go through. And that's how it is. When you run the valiant path, the big bosses will come out. You will earn them. All challenges are opportunities to build strength if you take them on that way. And then the bosses get bigger, just like in a video game. And there's a bigger gold coin on the other side each time, right? And a clean conscience is going to be the strongest weapon a man can carry. In a world built on manipulation, honesty becomes revolutionary. Just so happens that nutritional diversity agriculture system, biodynamic agriculture system, Rudolf Steiner, is the revolution for real, eloquently disguised as gardening, as a cooking club, as athletes in performance. Nutritionaldiversity.com, right? There's one way that these control freaks can be dealt with. Some say it's a 25-cent solution. What is it? Comments? No. And, you know, voodoobreaker.com. Kill control freaks in no jail time. Voodoobreaker.com. Some say that we have to remove the control freaks, the satanic control freaks. Some say that we must identify them at the very least and categorize them correctly and not listen to their fucking nut stuff, crazy stuff anymore, right? Some say that we can convert them over to, you know, they're good, they're all good people. They just don't know about that taproot hasn't gone deep enough. Because right down the street from you, there's a 50 Cent's oldest kid is a perfect example. There's kids like that. We won't get stuck here. 22 million is the lowest estimate. That's, talk about satanic. These family courts, lawyers getting rich. There's a Vice documentary about them. Total toxicity here. Family destruction, father destruction. Those are all the valiant dudes because they were superstars, hosts that attracted these crazy parasites. And then lives were birthed out of that. And that's another Jimi Hendrix song, Voodoo Child. And now we, standing next to mountains, chop them down with the edges of our hands. Because we paid attention to the Schematics channel, the nutritionaldiversity.com channel, the Brandon Angel Fitness channel. I had to come in diversity because, well, one channel will only likely build so fast. But if I have 10 channels with 1,000 or 2,000 or 100,000 plus, I'm always getting reported on. I'm always getting attacked. Saying this amount of truth that I'm saying right here, forget about it. Everything is trying to come at me and in my way. You don't know the amount of bullets I'm dodging as if I'm a Matrix character every single day. I don't know the bullets that you're dodging. But I'm going to decide right now to proceed like a member of that community in our meditation just now, where I'm just going to treat everyone with extreme respect and politeness up until they cross another line. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to allow you to live a lie. If you're in my vicinity and I see some sort of deception, I will say, Hua, my man. You know it every day, dude. Every day, dude. And the demons come. Like I said, you guys don't realize, and there's no crying in baseball. All challenges, opportunities to build strength. Bring it on. All the way to gunfight, knife fight, stick fight. You've got to be ready for whatever, whenever. I want everybody next to me as a Jedi. You've got to be in martial arts. You've got to check yourself. That is a rule for our group. You have to endeavor in all the fists of Kung Fu, mental, metaphysical, spiritual, whatever you want to call it, physical, martial, physical, financial, work, creative, calligraphy, whatever, martial art. If you're not doing art, you're not doing anything in the end. If you're not contributing a good, bright spark, ray of light to the collective goodness, because it all works together. All negative things work together and all positive things work together. The positive ones in this crystalline, beautiful, connected structure. It's amazing, right? The negative ones in this cancerous, blah, horrible structure that microscopically mirrors a spatial image of a city, lo and behold, right? Go out to nature, understand everything better, adapt to the higher cognition, the greatest measure of intelligence that we have, the longest living, lasting, functioning technology that there is. If you want to use that mouth sound for it, it applies, doesn't it? Right? We work through many things in experimentation, but in this wonderful world, and natural practitioners know you're not going to learn it all. You're never going to learn it all. It's never going to get boring. You really can't come at anyone with this proud thing. You've got to be a fellow journeyman, right? And in interpersonal relationships, I'm not going to sit here and make a bad tasting soup over and over and over and over and over and over. Am I? Eventually, I need to step outside of this situation and really do the personal inventory in such an integral, scientific, strong, resistive, clear way. The Vision Quest, man. It is completely mandatory. Again, for everybody in this tribe. It's just like, damn, dude, you want me to do a lot of stuff. Read all these books, do all these burpees and push-ups, run all these miles, do all this gardening. It's not gardening, it's stewardship of nature, you know. It's relationship to nature. If we all had a relationship to nature, that would solve tons of problems right now. PTSD everywhere, cancer everywhere, the nutritional diversity diet. The cure has been here for right in front of your face. I told you the guiding rule at the beginning of this one. Everything is both the dose. Did you hear that? That's a woodpecker. Everything is both the dose. Everything is both the toxin and the remedy. It is the dose that decides. Hua. So get out there and listen. If you've overdosed yourself with a toxic person who's worse than a toxic substance, you're in trouble. Your reality has been hijacked, as 50 Cent's quote so eloquently explains. You know, you've been misled by a deceiver, by a distractor. And now you've been given bad ingredients, and your foundation, your architecture is at jeopardy. Thanks, man. Now I gotta go unlearn all that BS you just showed me that doesn't work. That's not right. That you maybe even gave me with the ill intention that I not be able to do this. Talk about demonic interference. You did it so many times that it rewired me to not be able to see any kind of deception, to trust deception and distrust raw truth tellers that are not all perfect, and they have an edge and they're a little rough and eccentric because they have experience. Your scars are your bars. If you've been raised in this prissy closet with skin creams all over you the whole time, speaking like, you know, you watch these Rothschild interviews. Whoa, bro. You know what the Communist Manifesto says? The bourgeois reduced the family relation to a mere money relation. They took the love out of it, right? What are we looking at right now? How can we kill school children and come on the TV? We're doing this, how can we start stumbling down a path, too many steps, and not back out and say, you know what? This was a mistake. Now, the beast has been provoked. Now, the conflict is seeded so deeply. How is this going to be resolved? Where is peace on earth going to come from? Now, the devils are screaming and smiling and doing the voodoo dance today. No doubt. All the successes that they've had, brainwashing all these people. This is really a psyop psycho channel. It's a psycho day. It's a psycho time. This is psycho things going on. They're Truman satanic people are Truman showing them. You don't believe that? It's hard to believe. You don't want to believe that. But you need to resist that fear to dive in and find out what it really is. Fearlessness is your key. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this one up. These psycho sunrise sessions are special, man. I know, yeah. The last thing they want us to do, these control freaks, is say a prayer in Jesus' name this morning. But the truth is there's so much power in that name and that leadership. How could we not? So, in the name of Jesus Christ, we pray that you protect all truth tellers and put the pressure on these deceivers that have to maintain their lies. They're not diamonds. You know, throw the water level up so that these castles made of sand. You know, we completely believe in you, oh Lord, that you've got the biggest hand in this, the only hand in this. We're not going to be able to do it without you. So thank you. Thank you for what's already won, what's already done. And we're going to communicate our respect and appreciation for you by being great representatives of you, and hopes to return to you in the biggest of ways. And these things we pray. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. I hope you guys have a beautiful day today. And you do as much good as you can do, flow state to flow state, productive, and with your great potential in your mind that is not confined by the false constructs, imaginary evils, and false promises. There's many people that will control you with false promises. They know that what they're saying now is not going to happen later, but they're saying it as if it is. Be true yourself to get the best discernment. Who will?